Hey YouTube, welcome to Southern Owl's channel. So glad you're here today. Today we're collabing with our friends at creekroad.net. Look how beautiful this fall sign is. This is a 10-inch metal sign. This is going to be the focal point of our design. We're going to be using 2 rolls of this beautiful mesh. I already pre-cut it at 20 inches. This is 10-inch mesh from Creek Road. Love that mesh. And these, oh well, I already pre-cut stuff, so the tutorial wouldn't be too long. But here are our ribbon choices. We have this beautiful 2.5-inch pumpkin, 2.5-inch burnt orange with the olive green lace trim. This is a 1.5-inch tricolor. I love those. And this is a 1.5-inch plaid. Ooh, I love. So let's get started. And like I said, I already pre-cut my mesh. You can also, guess what, guys? I'm so excited. You can also buy these work forms from creekroad.net. So today we're using this beige tan raised work form. I always just like to get all of my tinsels ready. So I just move them all around, move those up, and get them ready for my mesh. So guys, if you're shopping at creekroad.net today, be sure to use my code OWL10 and you'll get 10% off your entire order. So all of these are pre-cut at 20 inches. I love this mesh. It's really nice and thick. So this is what we're going to be using today, and we're going to do Old Faithful Cruffle method. Y'all know I love a good cruffle. So the reason why it's called a cruffle is because it has 2 rolls and a ruffle. And we're just going to place that right into our tinsel ties and give it a really nice good few twists. I like to start on the top, but you can start wherever you like. So cruffle, we're going to naturally see how that mesh naturally kind of rolls in. We're going to use that to our advantage. We're going to let it roll, pinch the middle, walk your fingers over to the other side, and then we're going to place that right into our work form. Now, what I like to do is every other direction. So this one was up and down. The next one's going to be side to side. And we're just going to keep with that ruffle method all the way. Cruffle, 1, 2, pinch, walk your fingers over to the other side. Right next door to that next tinsel tie, we're just going to lay that mesh right in there and give it a few good twists. This wreath is going to be absolutely gorgeous. Fall vibes all the way. And all of these supplies are from creekroad.net. I will link all of the supplies in the description of this tutorial so you can shop these supplies as well. And then you can come back and re-watch this YouTube tutorial to get those step-by-step instructions. So just let that mesh roll in a few times, pinch the middle, walk your fingers over to the other side. You want to stay in the middle of that mesh as best as you can when you're walking your fingers over to the other side. So I just cut my mesh on top of each other. That's why I am unwinding it, unrolling it from each other, because I like to lay my mesh down and cut it with a rotary blade. That's my favorite way to cut mesh. So I pre-cut all of our mesh before we got started today, because that's kind of time consuming, and I know y'all over here on YouTube value your time. So try to keep these fast and easy for y'all to follow along to. So we're done with the top, and now we're going to move on to the bottom. Roll, pinch the middle, walk your fingers over to the other side. We're going to open up that bottom tinsel, lay that mesh right in there, and give it a few good twists. And we're going to do that same method all the way around. Now, on the bottom, I don't really worry about what directions it's going. I really just stay side to side. Once we place that second layer of mesh on, it's really going to fill up all of that space naturally. So I just go side to side and just twist it right in. You want to make sure that when you're twisting that mesh in, that you're getting it really nice and tight, because you don't want that mesh to roll, or excuse me, not to roll out. I mean, it could roll out, but you don't want it to come undone later on. So I just want to make sure that you're getting that mesh on really nice and snug. Opening up those tinsel ties and twisting it right in. And we're just going all along the bottom. Aren't you loving this mesh? Isn't it beautiful? I love that it has all the colors of fall, so it really goes well with a ton of signs that creekroad.net has in stock. Now, my favorite size sign to design with at Creek Road is their 10-inch. I have designed with all of them, but I do love the most frequent one I design with is their 10-inch round. They do have some oval signs and some license plate signs that are really cute as well. So just go check out all of their supplies at creekroad.net. Be sure when you're shopping with Creek Road, y'all, you'll use my code AL10 for 10% off your entire order. Okay, so we're done with that first round of mesh, and look how thick this mesh is. Like, you can't really, there's some holes, yes, but I mean, that is some really, really great coverage. That's the one thing Michelle with Creek Road, one of the owners, she does such an amazing job picking out mesh and ribbon. She is an amazing supply picker outer. She's amazing. Okay, we're going to keep on going. And now, while we're doing that second layer, we're also going to do opposite directions. So if I put that first layer of mesh on up and down, I'm going to do that next layer of mesh side to side. So we are just thickening up, doubling up on that mesh, making sure that everything is nice and covered, and we're not seeing the mechanics of the design, right? This mesh is beautiful. All right, just going around, filling in. Guys, also, if you don't know, Creek Road is also the official supplier of my private group, the Double Troublemakers. So if you're wanting to elevate your designs and get a little bit more in-depth on wreath making, I would love to have you join my private group, Double Troublemakers. You can check out all the information out at doubletroublemakers.com. Guys, also, just a little perk about Double Troublemakers. If you join, when you join, I shouldn't say if, when you join the Double Troublemakers, a nice little perk that you get is you get 20% off Creek Roads. 20% off Creek Road supplies. So that's really amazing. Okay, just a few more on the top, and then we will go on to the bottom. She's looking great already. I dropped a couple pieces of mesh. I'm going to pause y'all real quick and get those, and then I'll be right back. Oh my gosh, so beautiful. I went ahead and just added on those last few pieces, and now we can kind of just manipulate where we want all of that mesh to be, if there's any holes. Now that it's nice and secure, we can kind of just move that mesh around and get it to where we're liking it. Now, this is a 10-inch sign from Creek Road, and I already pre-punched some holes in it with this jewelry hole puncher that you can find at creekroad.net as well. So what I'm doing is that I just punched 4 holes. I'm going to thread these pipe cleaners through and give it a few good twists, twist. And now our sign is ready to be attached to our wreath. So I always look for where is a top tinsel and a bottom tinsel to kind of lay out where the top and bottom is of my design. What we're going to do is we're going to just thread that pipe cleaner right through the mesh. And now we're going to make sure that we're making contact through the bottom. And we're just going to wind it around the frame of that raised work form. Same thing, just thread it through the mesh. And down, we want it tight, but not too tight. You don't want the sign to sink down into the wreath. You really want it sitting on top, sitting right on top of that wreath design. I always like to put one hand underneath my wreath and one hand on top while I'm threading through those pipe cleaners, just so I can feel where those pipe cleaners are going through the bottom and I don't lose it in the bottom. And I'm just wrapping it right around that raised work form. Just like this. So I'm making contact with the form and just wrapping it around two or three times around that base. So now our sign is in. It's nice and secure. Oh my gosh, that looks so good. That looks so good. So now what we're gonna do, I'm gonna fill in that hole that I saw. We're gonna make a bow. So we're gonna make two bows. I already pre-made one. So we're gonna make a matching bow because I wanna do double bows at the bottom. So we're gonna grab all four of these ribbons, a pipe cleaner, and we're of course going to need a cable tie. And we're going to start off with that 6-inch tail and two 5-inch loops. So we're going to measure at the 10 and bring them together to make two 5-inch loops and a 6-inch tail. So now that first piece should have two 6-inch tails and two 5-inch loops. And we're going to do the same exact measurements for that next ribbon. 6-inch tail, lay it right down in the middle underneath your thumb, and two 5-inch loops. Bring them around and together. And guys, if you struggle making bows, we do a lot of deep dive into bows inside the Double Trouble Makers group. So we would love to have you join in. Lindsay and I have a lot of great bow tutorials, in-depth bow tutorials inside the group. We're going to do another 6-inch tail and lay that right down on top. We're going to shrink those loops down to the 9, which is going to make them 4.5 inches. Two of those. Another 6-inch tail. And then we're going to take this awesome, I love this ribbon. I love that brown hint into it. Same thing, another 6-inch tail. And then we're going to do two 4.5-inch loops. So we're going to measure at the 9 and bring them together. And we're going to do that center loop where we flip it around our thumb to make a cute little center loop to hide all of the mechanics. And then another 6-inch tail. We're going to take that cable tie and thread it through and around. We're going to start threading it, not all the way. Then we're going to take our pipe cleaner about halfway through and then get it all the way nice and tight, not too tight, tight enough just to hold all of the ribbon. What I like to do with my pipe cleaner next is just twist it around a few times around that cable tie so I know everything is good to go. We're going to flip that bow over, start kind of spreading everything out, making sure the tails are facing the right direction. And we're going to go through and we're going to dovetail all of our ends. So dovetailing means we're just folding that ribbon in half and cutting up at an angle. And we're going to do that to all of these 6-inch tails. Fold in half, cut up at an angle. If you don't love a dovetail, you can always just angle cut these as well, and that just makes your ribbon tails look nice and finished. Guys, also, if you need a good pair of crafting scissors while you're shopping at Creek Road, add those scissors that they have into your cart with that jewelry hole puncher. I promise you're not going to regret. You're not going to regret buying these scissors. They are my favorite. Okay, so we already made the other bow, so you're going to make that ×2. And I just thought these would be so cute at the bottom. So I'm going to do one on the left side and one on the right side. Basically, if this round sign was a square and it had corners, I would be putting it in the corners of my sign. Same thing with, just like the sign, you're going to thread those pipe cleaners through the mesh. I always like to have my hand on the other side. And then we're going to twist it around the work form, just like the sign. And then once we get that bow on there, we can kind of start manipulating where we want everything to be. The great thing is all of this ribbon that we're using today is wired ribbon, so you can move it and it will stay in place. Very cute, and I want it to hang off my sign. I don't want to cover up my sign, so I'm kind of just moving some of those so it's right next to the sign and not on top of the sign. And the same thing with this one. We're going to go through that mesh with that pipe cleaner into the right corner of our sign. If our sign had corners, going through that mesh again. Twist, twist, twist. All right, that guy's a little long. So once you get everything on your design, if one's a little long, just snip it. No bigs. No big deal. Perfect. Oh my goodness, I'm loving this already. So now we're going to grab all of these ribbon tails. So I pre-cut all of my ribbon tails today at 13 inches. So these two are going to match together. And then we're going to put these two together. How pretty is that? So I'm going to grab whichever one you want to start with. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. So you're going to have 8 of each ribbon cut at 13 inches. So 8 of these, 8 of these, 8 of these, 8 of these cut at 13 inches today. I'm going to start off with our plaid ribbon and the lace trim. We're going to lay it right on top of each other. We're going to find the middle, give it a pinch, and then right in between our bow, we're going to place that ribbon into the tinsel ties and give them a nice few good twist. And then once they're in the tinsel ties, we're just going to spread out those ribbons. So cute, so pretty, just like that. And we're going to go all the way around our wreath. One, sorry, always have to do counting. Sometimes I'm like, okay, which one's next? So we're going to do the pumpkin with the tricolor on top. Give it a pinch. Put it right into those tinsel ties. Twist, twist. And once they are nice and secure, we can just go and pull that ribbon apart so you can see all of the beautiful ribbon. Also, guys, pro tip, we are using a directional ribbon. So when we put them onto the wreath, we want to make sure those pumpkins and gourds are facing the right direction and they're not upside down. So just be mindful of that as we spin the wreath around, putting in our ribbon tails, that we're being mindful of our pumpkins and which way they should go on our wreath. Just twist. Making sure those pumpkins are facing the right way. And we're just doing every other color, every other ribbon all the way around our design. And guys, guess what? We are finished with these tinsel ties. So if you don't love the tinsel being exposed, you can go in with your nippers and just clip those right off. Just fluffing these out, making basically like an X pattern with them as I go. Oh my goodness, this is beautiful. Okay, so we're done with the top. Now we're going to do the exact same thing along the bottom. We're just placing those ribbons on top of each other, finding those tinsel ties and going in and twisting them together. Twist, 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 and then V'ing them out. I like to leave my ribbon on the bottom in a V. Designer's choice. You can do whatever you want, but I personally just like to leave these in a V. But if you would like to fluff these out like we did on top, you can do that as well. This is your wreath. You can do whatever you want. I'm just giving you some guidance, some help along your wreath making journey. So all of these supplies will be linked in the description of the tutorial. So if you're loving something, just go click on it and it will send you right to creekroad.net's page and the item. Add to cart. Be sure to use my code OWL10, that's OWL10 at checkout to get that 10% off your entire order. Also, remember, if you're a double troublemaker and you're inside my private group, you get 20% off your entire order with that special DTM code. So don't forget to use that code at checkout at creekroad.net, my friends. Creekroad.net. Guys, we have already picked out my next collab with Creek Road, and I am so excited. We are moving on to Christmas at Creek Road. This is going to be my last fall design over here on YouTube with creekroad.net. So stay tuned for some Christmas. Actually, we have our next 3 collabs picked out, but who's counting? And they're all Christmas, and they're all going to be amazing. So be sure that you come back over here, check out my YouTube channel, and get ready for some really awesome Christmas designs, friends. Okay, this is the last one. Twist, twist, twist. All right, I'm going to fluff out these bows because somehow, am I the only one? Somehow whenever I'm designing, these bows always get a little cuckoo-cuckoo as I'm going. A little cuckoo. Okay, beautiful. Oh my gosh. Stop. That's so pretty. So gorgeous. Double bow action. I love that. Oh, I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I really hope you loved this tutorial. All supplies are from Creek Road, y'all. So go check them out, creekroad.net. If you haven't before, they have amazing items, and they're getting new items every single day. Like every single week, they're getting new shipments in for Christmas. Guys, go check them out. Go check them out, creekroad.net. Thank you so much for being here and hanging out with me. And I can't wait to craft with y'all again soon. Bye, everyone.